Hi everyone, so just a quick one. I have been going through some of my boxes of dolls paraphernalia that I've got that I haven't unpacked yet, and I was going through a bag of clothes, old Sindy doll clothes, and I was on the verge of throwing some of them away, and I thought, because I thought they looked handmade, and then I thought I'm just going to have a look, because a lot of the Sindy doll clothes that weren't officially pedigree Sindy clothes were made by Faerie Glen, as I'm sure a lot of you know. And Faerie Glen made clothes to fit Sindy in the 1970s and the 1980s. They also did clothes to fit baby dolls. They did a lot, though they were quite a big company for making dolls clothes, and I think they were probably cheaper than the official Sindy dolls clothes. So I knew I had this, and I've just taken this off one of my dolls. So this is a Faerie Glen bridesmaid's dress that I love. It is absolutely beautiful. And I knew I had this, and I knew this was Faerie Glen, and it was on one of my dolls. I've just taken it off to show you. It's beautiful, isn't it? So inside, the reason I knew it was Faerie Glen is because it has got the Faerie Glen label in it. And I love this dress. I mean, I call it a bridesmaid's dress because to me it looks like a bridesmaid's dress. But I think when I bought it, it was described as a bridesmaid's dress. So I know that's Faerie Glen. And as I said, I've always known that that is. It's lovely. Beautiful. So when I bought that from eBay, it also came with a wedding dress that I feel is Faerie Glen, but it has no label on it whatsoever. So we've got this underskirt. I just wondered if anyone knew whether this was Faerie Glen or not. It's a lovely wedding dress. It isn't Sindy. I don't think it is anyway. I'm pretty sure it isn't. So you've got an underskirt, and then you've got the overdress. So this is what came with the bridesmaid's dress. So that goes over the top. And then you've got one of these old-fashioned hats. Let me show you. Put it on this girl just to show you. And it's got the veil attached. She's naked. Sorry, I've just taken the bridesmaid's dress off her. So, I mean, it's lovely. It's quite old-fashioned, which makes me think it is old. And I think it probably is Faerie Glen, but I don't know for sure. So if anyone knows, it hasn't got Faerie Glen anywhere on it. So I did have that on one of my Sindy play dolls. I'm going to put it back on a... I had the bride and the bridesmaid together in my display cabinet. I've just taken them off so I could show them to you. So some of the things I nearly threw away in this bag of stuff. Firstly was this. I mean, it's not a nice dress. And I didn't really look. I looked for the tag here and thought, oh no, it's not Faerie Glen. Because I thought, you know, possibly it might be. I thought it looks homemade. So I thought, just in case, I'm going to Google Faerie Glen dresses, and something very similar to this come up. And then when I looked again, the Faerie Glen label is actually right at the top, look. So I nearly threw that away, but that is a vintage Faerie Glen dress. Now, it's done up with Velcro, which makes me think it might be 1980s. I mean, it isn't a very nice dress, but it, you know, I don't know, or maybe it is 1970s. I don't know, but it is Faerie Glen because I found the label in it. So that was the first one I found. So I'm glad I kept these. This one was in there as well. Again, I mean, it isn't very attractive. That's done up with Velcro as well, actually. I couldn't see this one when I Googled Faerie Glen dresses. This one didn't come up, but I knew this one was because when I looked in the bottom, it had Faerie Glen. So Faerie Glen, they do put their labels sometimes right at the bottom, but sometimes they put them right up here in the top. So I already knew that one was. Yeah, that's done up with Velcro as well. I mean, this one's not an attractive dress. I mean, they do seem quite cheaply made. I'm keeping them because they're vintage They're vintage dresses, and I might even put them on my dolls. So there's that one. That's a Faerie Glen dress. And then this I looked at and I thought, I don't like that. And I thought, that looks homemade. It just does. It just looks, it just does. And then because I found the other label in the top of that one, I looked here and lo and behold, this is actually a vintage Faerie Glen dress as well. So I'm keeping all of these. I'm probably going to give them a wash. How long they've been stored away for, goodness knows. They were in a bag with a lot of other stuff. I think they probably came in a bundle with maybe something that I wanted. And I've just put them in a bag because I didn't think they were anything, you know, for when I could sort them out another time. So that's another Faerie Glen dress, which actually, now I look at it, I quite like it. Yeah. So these will all fit Sindy. And then the last thing I found in there that had the Faerie Glen label on it was this sort of lightweight dressing gown. And again, I didn't think that was genuine, but I found the label in it. And I actually quite like it now. So that's got like a tie. It's got metal poppers, or has it? No, it hasn't. Sorry, I beg your pardon. It's just got the tie. Oh, I don't know why I thought it had a popper. It hasn't got a popper. No, you just put it on. Let me put it on this young lady here. So I very nearly got rid of these. But I mean, I've never actually been particularly into the Faerie Glen clothes, but I know they are vintage. And I know a lot of Sindy dolls wore Faerie Glen because, I mean, I'm assuming they were a bit cheaper. But yeah, so I literally just Googled Faerie Glen dresses and yeah, I kind of thought, oh, so how does that go around then? Does that go around like that? Not quite sure. Quite sure how that works. Right, we'll just tie it up as we think. I'm not quite sure I've done that right, but so there she is. It's like a house coat, isn't it? But I actually like it. I mean, it's very 1970s, isn't it? Early 1970s it looks like. So yeah, I actually quite like that. So I am a little bit into my Faerie Glen now. Yeah, and I'm not going to get rid of them, even though I don't like them. I'm not going to get rid of them. And this is the one I found almost identical to this, slightly different colour. Had pink on it. I think the trim was pink, whereas this trim is cream with yellow. I found that, yeah, I wouldn't have known because I wouldn't have looked up there. I don't know why I wouldn't have looked up there, but I didn't. I looked all the way down there and thought, oh no, it hasn't got a. And for some reason, I thought they looked homemade. I mean, the material is, you know, it's not great. The material is not great at all. But the material on that's a bit better. I mean, this is awful. Looks like the gold's come off of that. Look, can you see peeling away? But yeah, I mean, they're not, you know. But I nearly got rid of them, and I'm so glad that I didn't. And it made me think, wow, this is quite interesting. So I might be getting a few more sort of Faerie Glen dresses to go on my Sindys. Yeah. But as I say, I mean, I had this one and I knew I had this one. I mean, I got that from eBay and it's so beautiful. I mean, you can't compare the two really, can you? The quality seems to have, I mean, that's lovely quality. And that's, yeah, so maybe that is an older one and this is maybe not as old, and maybe they started sort of not making things quite as nice. But I don't know about this whole brides ensemble here. I love it. I mean, it's very old-fashioned, is it, with the hat with the veil. I mean, I absolutely love it, but I don't know whether that's Faerie Glen. I don't think it's Sindy, as I said. I mean, there's quite a lot to it, and it does remind me of this, which makes me think it might be. But anyway, I just thought I'd pop on and show you what I found. Yeah. So, yeah, I might be doing a bit of research into Faerie Glen dresses that fits Sindy. Anyway, thanks for watching. So see you all again soon. Bye.